Good morning, everyone. It's Father C with your Monday morning message for Monday, June 26th. I want to thank you for joining us. For those who joined us for Mass this weekend, you heard the good news, and those who read our Facebook post, that this past weekend I announced we have retired our deficit. When we arrived on October 26, 2020, our parish was about $498,000 plus in debt. Now, a couple months later, we received a very nice bequest. Part of that bequest was placed to the deficit, while the other part was placed into our general funds to help us, pay off our bills and also be able to do some small projects around the parish. In addition, with the sale of the convent, we were able to cut the deficit in half. That's what brought us down to about $242,000 plus. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was made aware that we were receiving another bequest. I wasn't sure of the amount until I discussed it with the attorney, and it was there I heard that we received a bequest of $288,000 plus. And so the bequest was placed into our general fund with no restrictions, which allowed me as pastor to be able to pay off our deficit and to also have some money left over. So I would like us to pray for our benefactors, those who donated both bequests. May we remember them in our thoughts and prayers in gratitude for their tremendous gift to help us get to where we are today, debt-free. And so, now with that being said, the debt has been paid off because of the generosity and the legacy of these donors. It doesn't mean that we don't have our fiscal challenges, although I do acknowledge that we have grown much stronger financially. We are in a better financial position than we were 3 years ago. And so that is because of your generosity and support. That is because of the success of the takeout turkey dinners, the success of our parish thrift shop. We are doing much better. We're also hitting our diocesan annual campaign goal, and in many cases going over. For this year, we are only a little over $3,000 shy of reaching our goal. So if we can make our goal, if you have not given to the diocesan annual campaign, I invite you to please do so. Every little bit goes to help us succeed. And so, we are definitely doing well. And projects have been done. As we prepared for Father O'Brien's arrival, the volunteers who removed the carpet, put new flooring down, who helped peel the wallpaper and the paint off those walls and paint them and sand them down. I'm truly grateful. The many volunteer hours. The only thing we did for the rectory was pay for the material. Everything else was done by volunteers. And so to all our volunteers who helped with that project, thank you. There are things that need to be done. And, as now that we're at a zero deficit, we are going to start looking at things that are going to be needed to be done in the future. We're in a better financial place. We are able to start needing to think to see what needs to be done. As I mentioned in Mass this past weekend, the sidewalk along the 1950s edition of the school building, that sidewalk is in rough shape. And in fact, in many cases, the curb is uneven. And that is a safety hazard that we are going to need to address sooner rather than later. The parking lot along the back end of the school, it at least needs to be resealed, but eventually it is probably going to need to be remacadamied. And so we need to have that in the back of our mind. There's some windows on our property that need to be replaced, especially in the school building and the parish activity center. Even in the rectory, there's some windows that need to be replaced. So we need to look at that as well. Some of our buildings need to be repointed. That needs to be looked at. There's never a dull moment in the life of the pastor, and there's always work to be done, but we will do them. The rectory kitchen is also, something that I'm looking at. We need to at least do the flooring in there, at least, since we removed some of the radiator pipes and, there's holes coming up from the basement. That need to be, plugged. And so putting a new floor down would help us do that. Some of the cabinets, and we did have somebody come out to give us a price on that to look at, modernizing the kitchen a little bit. The pantry between the kitchen and the dining room, we need to look at the ceiling, probably put a full ceiling in. I don't know if we're going to remove those cabinets or not, but there at least has to be a drop ceiling because about a week or so ago, my pipes to my bathroom began leaking. And so they had to rip up more of the ceiling so they can get to the pipes to actually replace them. A lot of the pipes were rusted out. And I think some of them, as the plumber said, I think what prevented them from leaking was the material that fell into place plugged the leak. So, the holes that were there. So, they were replaced, but there's gaping bigger holes in that ceiling. And rather than try to replaster and to fix that ceiling, probably easier to have a drop ceiling in. That way you have access to the pipes in the event something else, or be more leaks. It's easier to replace a drop ceiling than it is to replace a plaster ceiling. So that is something that needs to be considered. So there's always work to be done. But have no fear, God provides, as God has provided for our parish with this tremendous, tremendous gift. As we talked about the readings this weekend, and we talk about the theme of riding the wave in the summer, surfing with Jesus, we talk about not being afraid, terror. And I likened it to being caught up into the current of a wave. I remember one time in my experience, it's been over 12 years since I've been to the beach, so this was much before this, when I was a kid. I remember being knocked off my boogie board, much like this boogie board right here. I remember being knocked off of it and getting sunk into the wave. And I remember not being able to get back up. How many of you have ever had that experience? It can be scary at times when you're knocked down by the powerful wave. In our world today, there are many powerful waves. Sometimes we're pushed down, we're knocked down, we're held down, and it's a struggle to get back up. The world is certainly very challenging. But the truth is, my dear brothers and sisters, the Lord extends his hand to us. All we have to do is reach out. Many of you have seen the image of Christ, standing above the water, reaching down for us. That's Jesus. When we get knocked down by life, when we feel overwhelmed, it is important for us to reach up our hand and say, Lord, help me. And the truth is, the Lord always answers us. Whether he answers us the way we want him to answer, the truth is he always answers us. And even if he doesn't answer the way we want, even though he may not take every burden, every cross off of our shoulder, we find the strength and we find comfort and peace because we feel the presence of God with us. And so, as we hold onto the board, if we ever get knocked off this board, reach up your hand to the Lord. Do not be afraid. Fear no one, fear nothing. Reach out to God, and he answers all our prayers. He just answered the prayers for our parish. He answers our prayers as well. All we have to do is trust him. And remember, he may not answer the way we want, but he does give us what we need. He always gives us what we need. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, think about that today. Last week was also a very busy week. On Wednesday, June 21st, Bishop Timothy Sr. was installed as our 12th bishop for the Diocese of Harrisburg. And as I mentioned, in the back of church, there are prayer cards, like the one I'm holding, commemorating his installation as our 12th bishop. And on the back of the prayer card is a prayer for vocations. There are extra ones on the back table in the back of church. Please feel free to pick one up during the week when the church is open, or next weekend when you attend Mass, to pick one up and remember Bishop Sr. in our prayers. Bishop Sr. will be visiting the deaneries. He wants to get out and to meet the people of the diocese, and so he's going to be hosting deanery masses. The deanery mass for our deanery will be Tuesday, August 1st at 7 p.m. at St. Joseph's in Hanover. So that will be Tuesday, August 1st at 7 p.m., St. Joseph's in Hanover. There will be no parish masses that day here at Immaculate Conception. There will be no Spanish Mass that evening. The 7 p.m. Mass will be bilingual. So I invite members of the Hispanic community to join us at St. Joseph's in Hanover, to join Bishop Sr. As he celebrates Mass in our deanery. And I encourage all of us to attend if our schedules allow, to welcome Bishop Sr. To our diocese. And so again, that is Tuesday, August 1st. and that'll be at 7 p.m. at St. Joseph's in Hanover off of Grandview Road. Bishop Senior on the back of this prayer card, it is a prayer of vocations, and Bishop Senior has made that, a priority for us to pray for vocations. So may we remember that intention in our thoughts and in our prayers. So along with Bishop Senior installation and this weekend, it's hard to believe that we are coming to the end of the month of June, and we're preparing to enter into the month of July. With the month of July, we'll begin our modified weekday schedule. On Tuesday, there will be only the 6:30 p.m. Mass, and this goes into effect Wednesday, July 5th. And the Wednesday Mass will be moving to 7:30 in the morning. So the Mass schedule on Tuesday will be no confessions, but with Mass at 6:30 in Spanish. On Wednesday, Mass is at 7:30, and confessions will remain from 4 to 5. The church will remain open to 6, and then beginning on August 16th, we will begin the Order of Christian Initiation of Adults, formerly the RCIA. If there's anyone who's considering, the Catholic faith or discerning becoming Catholic, we invite you to attend those meetings, which will be Wednesday evening at 6:30, beginning on August 16th. We encourage you to attend. By your attendance, it doesn't mean you have to become Catholic, but if you're discerning it, we invite you to join us. It is certainly a journey. It's an adventure, but I would invite you to attend. Or if you know of anybody who's interested in becoming a Catholic, extend that invitation to them. Say, hey, Immaculate Conception starting Order of Christian Initiation for Adults. We'd like for you to attend. If there's any parishioners who want to help with that, we can also use your help. Whether to be moderate discussions, whether it be to accompany people. Many people who come into the program don't necessarily know people, don't necessarily have sponsors. And so, if you're interested in helping in that regard, it's about building relationship and welcoming them into a family of faith. And so, if you're interested in helping, I greatly appreciate that as well. I also, as I mentioned before in posts on Facebook, we're looking at forming youth ministries in our parish. And so with that, as pastor, I'm going to take, a lead and an involvement in our youth ministry programs. I think that's important for our young people. And so I want to participate in that as much as possible. But with that being said, I need people to help. I think some of our catechists are willing to help with the program, but I can also use more volunteers, parent volunteers, to assist. That way I can rotate things. We can do more things with the help that we need. If you're interested in helping and do not have clearances, the information on getting clearances are available on the website, and so I'd encourage you to that. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to either ask me, ask Mrs. Roth in the office. Will gladly help you with that and get you, squared away and directed where you need to go. But clearances are, necessary for those who want to help with youth. And many hands make light work. And if you're interested, please feel free to sign up. I can use your help. Youth ministry, as I mentioned, what my desire is to do a middle school program, Connect 4, which will be from grades 5 through 8. We have a small parish, not a lot of youth, but anybody from grades 5 and 8, and that could be anyway for any other parishes as well. It'll be the third Friday of the month, and I invite you to participate. On the third Sunday of the month, we will have a high school ministry, Conception, that will meet after Mass from 6 to 8:30. That'll be, all the details are on the website, our youth ministry, so feel free to go there because I'm going off the cuff right now. Also, First Friday, looking at doing a First Friday Fun Day for students in kindergarten through high school. And this is where I need the real adults, to help. We can do movies, games, different things like that. My view of this is to, have, portion it out. Most of it's 2.5, 3 hours, to tithe, a little bit of time for prayer, a little bit of time for formation, more time for fun and fellowship, and that's what we want to do, is build relationships, and also feed a little bit of the faith in it as well. So if you're interested, to go to the website under Youth Ministries, take a look. If you're interested in helping, let us know. I greatly would appreciate it, to help with that particular program. There's what else? We have youth ministry. We have Order of Christian Initiation adults. We paid off the debt. There's a lot of good things happening. A lot of good news too. May we continue to place our faith and trust in the Lord. Just to keep in mind, July 4th is next week, and we will have a special schedule. There'll be no confessions on July 4th. Mass will be at 7:30 in the parish, and also at 10 o'clock in the Cross Keys Village. So that is our normal schedule at Cross Keys Village, and we're going to keep to that schedule. So 10 o'clock Mass at Cross Keys Village on the 4th of July, as well as the 7:30 Mass in the church. The Spanish Mass will be Monday, July 3rd at 6:30 p.m. So there'll be 2 Masses on Monday, 2 Masses on Tuesday, and then beginning on Wednesday, July 5th, we begin the new schedule, and then we move forward. All that will be posted on the website shortly, so, especially with confession times. So we have that moving forward. My dear brothers and sisters, I thank you for your attention. Wonderful things are happening. God is answering our prayers. He always answers our prayers. He's doing great things for us. May we continue to work hard in building up our family of faith. We're all in this together, and may we work together to continue the good work and ask the Lord to continue to bless us abundantly. God bless you. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next weekend as we celebrate the 13th Sunday of Ordinary Time. God bless.